We're glad to have you back. You're watching Business Nigeria with Tolulope Ogunjobi. Well, in recent meetings, President Bola Tinubu has reiterated the fact that bilateral relationships between Nigeria and the Netherlands must be mutually beneficial and transformative and translate into verifiable gains for citizens of both countries. He called for creative approaches to find investment-minded solutions to benefit the two nations. President Tinubu again emphasized the importance of strong ties between Nigeria and the Netherlands, saying both countries must explore more creative channels of collaboration, be it partnerships, joint ventures, strategic alliances, to build bridges that connect markets and facilitate the flow of goods and services, ideas and peoples. Nigeria's president argued that his administration is enhancing the business environment, making it very friendly through various reforms. These measures include the cleanup of the foreign exchange market, making it more transparent for seamless business transactions, removal of fuel subsidy, and the readiness of the Central Bank of Nigeria to provide the necessary window to allow foreign companies repatriate their profits, among others. My next guest is the Consul General of the Kingdom of the Netherlands in Lagos, Lands Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Mitchel Deelen. Thank you so much. It's good to have you. He's a skilled diplomat, a team builder with many years of experience in international relations. Thank you so much for being here. It's good to see you, Michel.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's good to be on the show again.
I think it's to start with what we've seen with our trade figures before now. I checked that of 2022. It was a bit impressive. What do you make of these figures? How can we get better?
I think we actually do quite well because I also checked the latest one before coming here.
Okay.
And altogether, bilateral trade last year was about 7.4 billion euros. And I think that's really a number that that shows that there is tremendous, let's say, potential in that business. Now, this is despite the fact that the export from the Netherlands to Nigeria actually went down. So, looking at the calculation, 3.1 billion euro in favor of Nigeria in the trade balance. So I would say that's already a very tangible result. But of course, if we dive a little bit deeper under these numbers and we see what they're based on, still a lot is still based on the trade in oil and the trade in refined products. With the Dangote refinery coming up, as your previous subject was, these figures might change. And I'm sure they will change. And, you know, that's not, I don't feel sorry for that, the fact that we don't export as much refined products from the Netherlands to Nigeria. I think it made complete sense. Nigeria produces oil, so Nigeria should have its own refineries. And that's the situation that we find ourselves in now. And I think that's a good thing. And that means that we, from the Dutch side, will also focus on other sectors. And you mentioned President Tinubu. We were very honored to have President Tinubu visiting the Netherlands in April of this year. So in the first 6 months of this year, lots of things, positive things happened in the bilateral relations. We had 3 trade missions coming to Nigeria in agriculture, in healthcare. We had discussions on circular economy. We had our Minister for Trade who came to visit, and of course the big bang was President Tinubu's visit to the Netherlands. And from there on, we take the discussion forward, and I think it's a positive discussion. You know, we are here to assist, we are here to help, we are here to do business together, and I think that shows also from the trade figures.
And looking at how we can get, I saw mineral products, animal products, machines, some of our, I'm looking at what other areas do you think your country can, of course, impact Nigeria? There's also a recent deal, an agreement between you and Lagos State Government, the coastal management. You're going to tell us about that too, please.
True. The coastal management is an interesting one because, as you might know, the Netherlands is a low country.
Yeah.
And the Lagos coast is also very low-lying. And the Netherlands is a delta, so is Lagos in a certain way. So it's not the south of Nigeria in a certain way. So we have experience in the Netherlands with flood protection, and we want to sort of use that experience to assist Nigeria in protecting the coast, because we all see what happens. You know, we don't have to go into the history of Bar Beach, but it disappeared. And what you see happening now is that subsequent areas along the coast are in danger of erosion. And we have companies in the Netherlands and technologies that can actually sort of fix that in a way in which we work together with the current. So it's called the sand engine. You basically sand fill an artificial island in front of the coast, and the waves of the ocean will push the sand towards the beach. So you don't have to work on the beach itself. It's basically Mother Nature that will fix it for you. And that's something that we are in discussion with Lagos State at the moment. And we hope that we can soon sign an MOU on that with a number of Dutch companies that are active in that sector.
We also know that some of your companies are here, operating here. They've been operating here for some time, right? How are they faring? Government is talking about making the environment more conducive, businesses very friendly environment. Payback is there, trying to make things easy. What's your experience like? What are you hearing from your people when they come back to discuss with you? I'm not able to do my business seamlessly.
It will probably not surprise you to say that there are challenges.
Of course.
You know, there are challenges not just for Dutch businesses in Nigeria, but for any business that operates in Nigeria. The major challenge, I would say, at the moment is the cost of imports. Because of the devaluation of the Naira, everything that you import, every element to increase your production, raw materials, will basically have an effect, a price effect on your products. So the answer seems to be to see if you can source locally. And I see lots of Dutch companies are actually trying to do that, to find local inputs as a substitute for imported products. It's not easy. It's a challenge, and sometimes you just have to say, well, you know, you can't find the right products, or the Nigerian climate might be more conducive to a certain product than to another. But still, that's a way in which things can be helped. And then I see also that the central bank has changed their policy, the Ministry of Finance. I think everybody is chipping in, the international community, the World Bank, the African Development Bank. We're all sort of chipping in to see how the business climate, the economy, can be improved. And it takes time. It takes time.
Indeed, looking at where we're coming from and all of these policies now. Now, it's been a while. We've also talked about diversification. I know you do a lot. Your country's on agriculture. So we talk about diversification and all of that. But do you think we are working the talk? What are the opportunities, or what opportunities do you see as a foreigner? Do you see in Nigeria? Talking about non-oil exports now.
That is also a challenge, because Nigeria is a huge producer of tomatoes, for example. But the Nigerian market is so sizable that there's no demand for export, because all the tomatoes are consumed inside Nigeria. So if you go for export, it should be something that is either a surplus of your own production, or maybe something specifically directed towards export. So I think first we have to fix the internal market and fix production, increase production here. The first thing that people think about quite often is agriculture, and you know, we have different programs in the horticulture sector, in Kano, in Kaduna, also in the south, to see how we can ramp up that production. And once that happens, and it's sort of mechanized and industrialized, then from there on you can say, okay, what can we export? There's another thing in the export, that is export of services. And I think export of services is really an element where Nigeria can benefit. And I always think of computer services, these very bright, smart Nigerian programmers and coders who work for international companies. They work from Nigeria, but they deliver services to the private sector all over the world. They work together with Meta, they work together with Google, but they also work directly for companies in the Netherlands, for example. And I think that's a really good example of how you can export something without having to produce a product here, but you export basically the service. And you gain in foreign currency.
Yeah, there are global issues that we should not just ignore. Having you in, at least let's look at some of these issues and how they would affect the entire business value chain. You know what happened during COVID. Well, we thank God we're back. But now with all of these little issues, the war is still going on. What do you think, and how do you think it would affect the entire value chain of businesses across the globe?
Yeah, no, there are certain things that what we saw was inflation everywhere.
Yes.
That seems to have become a global issue, also in the Netherlands. Not yet at 30%, but still, you know, prices are going up.
Yeah.
And inflation is basically exported, and that one of the reasons why prices are so high in Nigeria is because of import of expensive products and import of inflation. But globally, certain countries do extremely well. So it's not like a global crisis, but there are imbalances in the system. And of course, what we see in the Middle East, apart from the humanitarian situation, of course, it also affects trade routes. What we saw, the war in Ukraine, the impact that had on fuel prices. All of these things, it's difficult to stabilize. You know, we are living in a world where things happen and where we all try our best to make sure that, you know, the market at least is stabilized, and that these events or these things don't have too much of a direct impact on people's lives. But if I look at Nigeria today, it is extremely challenging. You know, we talk to everybody in the street out there, and it's not easy at this moment to be around and to manage to get by, to buy your daily food. There are people in this country, unfortunately, who are living on maybe one or less than one meal a day. And then what does that meal consist of? So therefore, we are also discussing these things with the Nigerian government to see how this can be addressed. And I'm looking forward to the month of October, actually, because in October, 3 very important things will take place. One is the Nigeria Economic Summit Group meeting, the 30th one in Abuja.
You'll be in Abuja. So I'll see you in Abuja then.
The second one is celebration, which happens here.
Okay.
Now in Lagos. The third one is my wife's birthday, but let's leave that now out of the equation. But you know, I was thinking on my way here, there is a link between the Economic Summit Group and celebration. At the Economic Summit Group for 30 years, and I've been there already for more than 20 years. At the Economic Summit Group, people discuss the challenges of the economy. And government and private sector, and they come with nice blueprints on how things should be solved. During celebration, the lyrics and the text, Fela's and famous text, are addressing issues in society.
True.
And if these issues are not solved, you can't solve the economic problems. You know, I would say one of famous songs is Action Time. So maybe this is action time. I think it is action time for the people in government, together with the private sector and together with the international partners, to sort of try to address these issues, because at this moment, you know, we are barely stabilizing the situation.
But do you think there are prospects really that we could take advantage of?
Yeah.
You believe so?
Oh, yes. Oh, I'm an optimist. Yes. No, I mean, you know, I wouldn't be one of those who says Nigeria is the country of potential and it has potential from now till eternity, but the potential never happens. No, the potential is there and we see it and it comes out. But it's sort of the circumstances surrounding that, or the system that doesn't allow for all these potentials to fully develop. So yes, I think you know, you only need a few things that you tweak that will make it right. I saw on your program your interview with the presidential advisor on the reforms of the taxation, and I understood that exactly that the proposals have now been sent to the parliament, and I think that's good, because if you implement those tax changes and tax simplifications, I think we will surely see a change.
Of course, streamlining all of those taxes, that's really a good one. What about the states? Are they really supporting you when you know, this partnership thing? How well are some of those states doing? You talked about having some centers in some states.
Yes, no, the states, of course, you know, it's a matter of capacity. Some states might not have the capacity, but some would. You know, if you talk about the agriculture sector, and we're also active in other sectors. We also do solar energy, we do circular economy, we do healthcare. So and all of that is not only in Lagos. People sometimes say, but you only work in Lagos. Our office is here, but we work all over Nigeria. And I think it's important to emphasize that if you ride on the Nigerian roads from here to Kano or to wherever, you see trucks everywhere. Nigeria is a logistics country whereby goods are transported from the north to the south, from the south to the north, and east and west, and it's one big transport economy. So you can't just say we focus on one state or a number of states. If we focus on tomatoes, we have to do it in Kaduna. But these tomatoes in Kaduna are then being trucked to Lagos, where they end up in the jollof rice, and before that on the market in mile 12. So the country is tied together. And sometimes we have this idea like, oh yeah, it's different in the north, or it's different in the south, or it's different in the east. Economically, and politically, it's one entity, and it should be seen as one entity. So we also are aware of that, and therefore try to balance our activities not only in the south, but also in the north and the east.
Let's see how this relationship continues to benefit all, just like President Bola Tinubu said, and of course, on your part too, I know you're ready to render your services. Thank you so much. It's good to really have you in the studio to discuss this. Mitchel Deelen, thank you so much for coming in to our studio to discuss Nigeria and of course the relationship between us and your country, the Netherlands. Really appreciate this, Consul General to the Office of Netherlands in Lagos. Thank you. Let me get a handshake.
Thank you.
Have a great week.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, let's take a break. My guest, Jamil Mohammed, will be joining me to look at market figures. Mr. Mohammed, good afternoon. Are you there?